Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you for being with me again today. Today, I will discuss and I will contrast and compare two situations, two sets of sanctions. It seems like not only the big club, um, which is the United States, imposes sanctions on others, but it seems like if you have the power, that's the method to do it. You can say, well, that's a way of educating children, punishment and rewards. The same here, it's threats and blackmail, and I don't know what the reward is. You have access to whatever I allow you to have access to. That's the reward. In this case, we have China and Australia, and China imposed some sanctions in Australia. And then we have obviously Russia and some countries in the West, European Union more specifically, and United States, who impose sanctions on Russia. And we'll see how, for instance, Australia, who also imposed sanctions on probably Russian oil and all that, is part of the club, bottom feeder, but nevertheless, it's part of the club, follows orders very well in exchange for its defense and security. So nevertheless, we're going to contrast how the Australia's new government engages China in lifting the sanctions China imposed on Australia and see if that is valid, if that approach is valid for Australia, why shouldn't be it valid for Russia as well? Let's jump into this and analyze. I thought it was very revealing in showing how the rules are different depending on the actors. So this comes from my friends Reuters, from Kirsty Needham, June 14, 2022. Australian Prime Minister says China should lift trade sanctions and welcomes talks. So Australia tells China, you should lift trade sanctions, and I'm open to talks. Okay, let's see. That's nice. Always talking is always good. Sydney, China needs to. That's a necessity, like air, food, shelter. That's a need. I love when this guy says China needs to lift its sanctions on Australia to improve relations. So you have to do that first for our relations to get better. So it's like Russia would tell Americans and European Union, you need to lift your sanctions in order for me to become a good guy and our relationship to become better. What do you think the Americans and the Europeans would say? That's exactly what they would say. All right. So Australian Prime Minister said on Tuesday as he welcomed, as I'm quoting, a good thing, the first talks between ministers from the two countries in almost 3 years. Okay. China is Australia's largest trading partner and the biggest customer for its iron ore, its largest export earner, but diplomatic relationship have been strained in recent years. So obviously, if you're the largest trading partner and I give you clothes and I give you medication and I give you everything, actually almost everything you got as manufacturing things, if I just say cut it, you have to start producing things, not only services, picking fleas from one another. That's what services here in the United States. Oh, this is a service-based economy. It's post-industrial economy. Yes, like doing what? We massage one another. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's exactly what we do. In imposing its sanction, we find out what happened. In imposing its sanctions, China listed 14 grievances with Australia, ranging from its call for international inquiry into the origins of the coronavirus, a ban on China's telecommunication giant Huawei, building a 5G network, and screening foreign investment for national security risks. All right, so they had these demands. Now, about the first one with the call on international inquiry into the origins of coronavirus. You want to find out how it started so you can prevent it next time, don't you? That's I would say, an every little thing. If no, if there's a fire somewhere, you want to find out how the fire started. So you got to go into deep. I mean, whatever the things the investigation might lead, it doesn't matter because look what the consequences are. I don't care. The fire destroyed the city. I want to know how it started. I don't care if it started from a politically incorrect person or something. I don't care. and you're not supposed to touch it with a feather, nevertheless. And that I think that's uh, Australia has a point, and I think should be considered. The other one, a ban on China's telecommunications. I don't like this kind of banning because my business is better than yours and competes better. You ban your business to come on your market and destroy your guys because your guys are ineffective and they provide lower business. So that's it's a socialism right here. It's protectionism. It protects its own industries against something that is better. Now, would that be okay? Then everybody would protect its own industries. We're not going to trade anymore. Why should we let, for instance, on the market of Europe, only, let's say, the American telecommunication companies? Just saying. I don't think that's right, but that's my thing. And building a 5G network. Maybe that's a strategic thing. Could be. And the last one, I don't care. So let's go and see. It is China that has imposed sanctions on Australia. They need to remove those sanctions in order to improve relationship. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese told reporters in Brisbane. Now, this guy Albanese starts the issue from the half, from the middle, not from the beginning. So the middle, he says, you impose sanctions on me. But why did they impose sanctions on you? For 3 reasons mentioned here out of 14. So the Chinese said, hey guys, you did something bad to me. Let's talk about it. Probably Australia said, no, we're not going to talk about it. You, bye-bye, see ya. And then said, okay, I'm going to impose sanctions on you. We don't care, we're too strong. Okay, they impose sanctions. So the sanctions were imposed of something that you did, and the relationship then deteriorated. So let's go to the origin, remember, and figure out what the origin, solve the origin, not, oh, you lift the sanctions first. No. You solve those things, 14 things first. Let's talk about those first, and then I'm going to lift them. No, you want me to do this first. The same, like the Russians will say, hey guys, you impose the sanctions first. You need to lift your sanctions first. And then we're going to talk. We're going to improve relationships. What do you think the West is going to say? Or Australia? No. You invaded Ukraine. So you started the first thing. And then first, you spilled the first blood or dropped the first blood or whatever. You did that first. So what do you want me to lift my sanctions for? No, let's go back. And the Russians say, no, let's go back then a little bit more. 2014, it was that, government overthrow by outside forces with, obviously, with cooperation of inside thugs. And that's why you have a new illegitimate regime. And then you had the implementation of the Minsk agreements. Well, how about that? So you see, if you go like this, and how far do we go back? So that's the thing. 2014. So however you get. Now here is the 14 points, not 2014, it's the 14 points that the Chinese requested, demanded. Now, I'm not saying that Australia should say, okay, we fall for everything you say, man. All 14 points, guys, just agree with that. I don't think it works that way, obviously. But did they discuss it? Did they try to find a common denominator? I'm assuming they did. But then the logic of this prime minister is a socialist, isn't he? Oh, no, he's on the left. How far left? They never go with far left here. It's always center left, but it's always far right. It's easy for these guys to always call far right a government, but never a far left, unless you go to Maduro, that we don't like at this point, or to the other guy that was before him. I can't remember his name right now. Hugo Chavez. Yeah, he was a communist. He was far left, but they didn't say far left. He was a communist. Yeah, that's a far left. What do you want? So this guy, Albanese, is a leftist. I don't know how far he's going to swing, because in the election cycle you say this, and then in reality you're going to be something else. That happens everywhere in these democracies where it's a popularity contest at the election time. So this is the point this guy is made, that the China needs to lift its sanctions so we can improve our relationships. And the other guys are obviously saying, what are you talking about? We need to solve those things first, and then. But see, this is a little. They try to improve things. That's good. But the way the Australians say in this article is just the wrong way to start the conversation. It's like you ignore the origin of this situation, that we're both in it. And the origin are the problems, the 14 points of the Chinese. Let's discuss them. We're not going to solve them all. But can we limit them? And if I come with a counter offer, that's how we do it. You just like, oh no, you have to do this first. Okay, the Russians will tell the Americans and the European Union, guys, you gotta lift the sanctions first. Remember when they said, you know what, you have to kind of lift the sanctions if you want us to cooperate in the Black Sea area? And what the Europeans said and the Americans did not even answer that. They were like, and right in their asses. That's what it is. Because it's what I talk about. It's the middle of the issue. Go to the beginning, to the core point, core issue. So yes, Australia, you don't use our, maybe you use, I don't know, bazaar logic and bazaar way of dealing with things. But we're not from the bazaar. We have a different civilization. Did you lose getting to Australia? What the? I mean, you used to be Anglo-Saxons, right? But whatever, things change. Look at their composition now of politicians, and they're leftist. What do you expect when you see leftist? Yeah, I'm against leftist, but I think it's a combination. It's not, oh, the right is good, the left is bad. No, it's a combination. You pick and choose how it works in certain circumstances. How is better for your society? Not only right, not only left. The ideologies are not good, because some ideologies sometimes do not work in real life. So you have to adjust. If you need to adjust in a situation and pick from the other side, by all means do it. Do it. Is for the benefit of the population. But since you have a democracy, you can't do that, because that means the other guy is going to show, hey, see, you used our ideology. Ours is better. And it's this fight of throwing mud at one another instead of solving problems, people's problems, the nation's problems, the civilization's problems. We're just looking for, oh, my ideology, my party, my little thing. That's democracy for you. Mass democracy, where every biped is voting without knowing anything or knowing a lot. And then the one who doesn't know squat about stuff nullifies someone else's who knows about stuff. Vote. Unfair. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.